Spartan, we need this area locked down. Nobody gets in or out.
5 lives left.
Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of The Talk, the show where we talk about everything and nothing at the same time. I'm your host, Angel from Dota Productions. Now, this is the first episode of the show. It's the first content I'm really putting out this year. I said that I was going to actively put out more content, and unfortunately, personal issues, matters, work, and catching COVID have put a bit of a roadblock there for me. But now that things are slowly trickling into normalcy for me a little bit, I'm still getting a little bit over COVID. I feel like I'm still getting after the effects of like soreness and fatigue. Even though I've cleared multiple times that I haven't had it, I still feel that fatigue lingering. But that's besides the point. Now that we're moving into almost mid-February, it's so weird. This pandemic itself has lingered for so long, and you could sort of feel like the ill effects of it for this long that it's been going, and it's like, holy shit, dude, you know. But we're not going to talk about that more topical stuff. We're going to talk about, or I guess like an introduction, really, more than just talking about anything. This episode today is more about introducing myself. It's more about giving you guys a bit of an update on what's going on in life. And above all else, it's also a bit of an easy way of saying somewhat of a roadmap without saying it's a roadmap. So, without further ado, let's get into some introductions. Alright, introduction time. So, for those of you who don't know who I am, probably won't be, this is a way to introduce myself. My name's Angel, and that's as far as I'm going to go with that for now. I'm in my 20s, really, really early 20s. And yeah, I am doing The Talk and other, hopefully, programs like Saturday Anime and other stuff to hopefully kind of get an understanding and like a feel for what I want to do in the entertainment industry. And I feel like YouTube's a good avenue. Obviously, like there's like a lot of saturation with podcasts and game reviews and type of stuff like that. And eventually, as I trickle in throughout the years on YouTube, hopefully, you know, I'm just trying to stick with it, be more or less motivated. I learn and pick up some, you know, techniques and some technological know-hows how to do things. You know, it's like stuff that I really don't know how to do. So that's really my attempt and my ambitions right now is to grow this channel, work on it, put out content that I feel confident in. Hopefully you guys, the audience, would enjoy. And just have a good time doing it, you know. And that's sort of what my main goal on YouTube is. But a little bit more on me. Give me a second, my throat's running dry here. Jesus Christ, I just fucking drank something. You probably heard the slurping, but whatever. A little bit of what I'm into, what I like, what I'm more receptive to. Obviously, I'm a gamer, you know. Gamers rise up. You know, I say certain words because I have gamer moments. Everybody has heated moments. Look, at the end of the day, I'm going to say this. No matter who you are, you know, you have your gamer moments. It's probably not going to fucking... Well, it's probably not going to age well, but, you know, it's in a sense of humor. As well as, again, I love video games. I love just about everything. I hate shitty games. I'll talk more into that later hopefully in this podcast, or make some dedicated video in what I dislike and like about the games industry. But I like video games, arcade, old stuff from like the 90s. I grew up in the 2000s, so the original Xbox 360 is really more my jam. Modern stuff, I play some stuff. Really excited for the new Tiny Tina game. I'm a film guy. I'm a film buff. Really, right now, I've actually been on a kick of like B movies and like old 80s action movies. Like I've just been binge watching all of James Cameron's work. That guy is nothing short of a magical genius. So I've really been kind of a fan of that stuff. Really receptive to music. I listen to a lot of things. Right now, I'm really into like Mexican rock. Obviously, some of the more notable ones are like Maná, and I forgot to hold on the search of this other band. I think it was like, it's just like old Spanish, Latin rock type of stuff. I've also really been into like underground hip hop type of shit right now at the moment. And yeah, just kind of that's the type of music that I'm more receptive to. Yeah, that's sort of a little bit of me. So that's kind of the stuff that I really like. Music, again, is not my biggest forte, but I do appreciate it, and I do appreciate a good, LP and shit. I do appreciate albums. I do appreciate singles and shit. I'm not a pop guy, unless we're talking 80s pop, which is like unmatched. Not that type of guy. I really, really fucking can't stand modern music. I know it's gonna be like, oh, you're a bit of a contrarian against modern music. It all fucking sucks, dude. I hate to be that one guy, but technology, I think, has made artistry very lazy and very complacent. So that's a rant that I'm gonna go on a little bit, as you'll probably kind of get to know me a little bit. I don't want to say I'm against post-modern technological advances in terms of entertainment, because I think there's attempts to not only blow everything out of the water and try to like be bigger at it, but I feel like a lot of companies have just become reliant on cheap tricks to kind of trickle out movies. And again, movies that are really receptive to is like action movies from like the 80s, well scripted narratives, epics. Yeah, that's the type of stuff that I'm really more receptive to over that of the traditional blockbuster. You know what I mean? Like, I'm probably gonna sound like, again, like a contrarian. You're probably gonna get this like from me. I'm not a contrarian, but I am. It's weird. Yeah, you're gonna just hear me and you're gonna think that I'm just a fucking hater. But in actuality, I find a lot of like modern media so fucking lazy. It's mind-boggling. But yeah, I'm not like the biggest Marvel fan. I could watch a Marvel movie, but I'm not the biggest fan of them. I would simply watch a Marvel movie if it piques my interest. I have actually avoided watching Eternals for such a long time. I think I've only recently seen it because it looked like absolute dog shit. And upon watching it, I'll say this about Marvel movies. I know I'm trickling a bit from my introduction of who I am, but as for Marvel movies, they're not terrible. They're enjoyable popcorn flicks. The problem with them is that they're so samey. That's why filmmakers like Sam Raimi, when he did the original Spider-Man trilogy, as goofy as fuck all those movies are, you could clearly see a bit of like the Evil Dead vibe or Shadow Man type, like stuff that he worked on in that earlier era. It's a style, That's why I'm more receptive to the James Gunns over the Peyton Reeds or whoever the fuck directed the whole Ant-Man trilogy or sequels or whatever they are, because you can't really tell. They don't have style, I guess what I'm trying to say, more or less, right? They don't have style unless they're forced in it. That's why I'm receptive to more fresh ideas. That's why I'm really excited for this that new multiverse movie. Only because it seems interesting, it seems wacky, and I was really into WandaVision at first because I thought it started really fucking good, but it obviously trickled into the traditional Marvel MCU big CGI battle shit. So definitely, I'm really receptive to originality, creativity. That's sort of what I'm into in film, and I guess like you could say I'm a contrarian when it comes to modern stuff. Not the biggest fan of it, but anyways, not sidetracked. I'm a very, very passionate about filmmaking. That's sort of one of my another things that I probably should have mentioned earlier. It's something that I'm really passionate about. It's something that I really, really want to work on later down the line. Yeah, that's sort of my take on that. So let's move on to another. All right, let's talk about things I dislike in the modern day. I told you guys some things I like. Now I'm going to tell you guys some things I dislike, even though I feel like that whole fucking rant was a bit of a way of showing things I really don't like. One thing I really wanted to talk about right now is the video game industry. The video game industry has been in this cascade of like holy fuckness for some time now. I just think that this games industry has definitely jumped the shark of that. If that really makes it, if I could really tie what that phrase means to that, that's what I mean from it. I'm not a fan of the current conglomerates snatching up the studios, the acquisition stuff, the Microsoft and Activision Blizzard acquisition that's currently going on, and then Sony sort of retaliating by buying Bungie, the guys that helped make fucking Xbox what they were. It's sort of weird to me. It feels really callous. It feels like it's a pity party, and like it's so fucking stupid and dumb. But you know what? I think AAA gaming is out the door. I feel AAA gaming has been in this like horrible downfall. It's just mismanagement at these studios that I think frustrates me. As a consumer, I see a lot of these games that I play sort of suck. Sort of come out in an unfinished, unpolished, and really, really, really unwarranted of that $60, $70 price tag, you know. Rarely would I ever suffice to say that a game is worth $70. It's rare. It's rare. I played a lot of games. Ironically, I played a lot of games as the pandemic has trickled in and has stepped in. The beginning of the pandemic was really where I played the most gaming. And I've gone back and played a lot of games from that era of the original Xbox 360, Switch titles, legacy titles. Really, more or less just legacy titles from like right before the Xbox One era, which I'm assuming is the 7th generation. So that's sort of what I relatively played a lot of, 7th generation and downwards. I played so much shit, dude. All right, I beat the original DKC trilogy, which is like some of the best platformers out there. And there is a charm, there is a level of originality, and there's a level of craftsmanship in that era of gaming that you could see like from 2010 onwards. There's this weird like animosity I feel like the games industry has towards the consumers, because at the end of the day, you are making a product that Joe Schmo and I could easily play, and we will be satisfied. Which is why back in the day, a lot of games just like introduce a half-ass multiplayer component to their games. If it was a single-player game, I think like the most notable one would be like the Uncharted and like Last of Us games that had a multiplayer, which was so unwarranted and so unnecessary. But people would play it because they wanted to get their money's worth of it. Now I think, and then there was this weird period of time where it was live service multiplayer focused games because the people want to get longevity of that game. And I feel like that's the biggest issue with the games industry. You're probably like, what the fuck is this kid talking about? The games industry has like trickled in to live service. So yeah, if we're talking about the games industry and what I like and dislike about it, I really dislike the dispassion from the AAA market. Now, if we're talking about the indie game scene, you know, it is night and day, the passion and love and dedication. Like, hold on, what was that one game? It was a game that was made on Dreams. Hold on, I'll have to figure it out. Literally was on it yesterday. Trip's Voyage. That one game made on Dreams. It was like a games creator engine from the guys that made like Little Big Planet, I think. That came out, and I don't know, man. I dislike the aggressive monetary transgression thing where they're like, we have to fucking nickel and dime these consumers. Like, you're a fucking retard if you don't buy this stupid, like, overpriced garbage. It's FOMO, really, you know. So that frustrates me to the game industry. A very, 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 very weird sort of like mistreatment of employees. It's big now. I mean, how many fucking scandals are you hearing of mistreatment? Just rushing games to meet some stupid deadline, and then that deadline sort of being a detriment to the game and to the studio, and then the publishers just sort of don't want to deal with it, so they usually just shelve them and force them to work on some subsidiary game like Call of Duty or like Battlefield. But yeah, I hate that. I hate the modern AAA games industry. But I've come to appreciate and slowly show more appreciation for the indie game scene. So if we're talking about what I like and dislike about the games industry, I dislike the AAA market basically dying and basically just shitting on the consumers. But that's enough of the games industry. Let's talk about the stuff I don't like. There's a little thing called TNFs or NFTs, if you guys are not known. It's a horrible transition. I know, but my first podcast, give me a break. NFTs! What is left to be said about this, like, shitty fucking trend that's so retarded and it's so fucking stupid? I hate NFTs as much as the next guy. But what blows my fucking mind about NFTs is the weird obsession people are having, or not people, celebrities and studios are having and trying to force it upon the Commonwealth. I think NFTs are a fucking waste. It is literally owning a receipt. Even though they used to own a property and own another blockchain, you can just fucking screenshot it. But at the end of the day, NFTs as a concept are fucking dumb. They're fucking retarded. They are a form of theft. A major theft right now is one of the biggest issues, I think, right now in this industry. With a lot of studios seemingly struggling, or not studios, many creators struggling to just fucking own intellectual property to their own name. Like I saw like Saberspark and like other YouTubers like RGT85, right? These are relatively smaller to some medium-large YouTube channels that have been basically try to like infringe on their copyright for some reason. It's so fucking bizarre, right? And it's usually Bungale Bagesh type of motherfuckers in India. I'm not even being like derogatory, although that probably was. Motherfuckers in India probably just scamming and shit. From what I've seen, a lot of Indian motherfuckers that are into the NFT scams. And you're seeing a lot of people. It's so funny to me how like these companies, like you're seeing game devs, which is something I probably should have mentioned and what I hate about the AAA markets. Game devs are doing it. Like Ubisoft is obviously invested in it and thinking about it. And then like you have indie publisher Team 17, who has a good track record with having good reception and like community like respect, have basically lost it all by trying to sell us fucking worms NFTs. And then everybody underneath that subsidiary company, like the guys like Playtronic was one of them, I forgot the other ones, but like they basically stated that like, yeah, we're not gonna support this is fucking dumb. And then you have companies like itch.io, which fucking kings. itch.io or what the fuck, they basically said they don't support NFTs. And it's just weird to me, like the overall perception that or rather the response is, ooh, I didn't know, we're getting harassed. Ooh, it's like fucking you are invested in the entertainment industry and you're openly supporting this like monetary theft, almost money laundering sort of system that isn't regulated, mind you. So if someone were to find a backdoor access to like a blockchain and steal everything, yeah, good luck calling the fucking cops because they're not gonna give a shit. It's just fucking insane. It's fucking wild. And I think NFTs right now have easily become obviously low-hanging fruit, but it's good low-hanging fruit. Like you could shit on them all you want. And it's so weird to see like how the NFT bros are literally sucking each other's dicks and are openly saying, "Oh, you're not. It's the future." It's not the fucking future, man. I'll tell you this much. It's a fucking fad that'll fade. It's again like the stock market. Everyone try to like gold rush GameStop and AMC stock last year when ironically around this time when the whole GameStop and stock market fiasco happened. There's like a movie out I want to go see sometime. It's like a documentary, but long story short, NFTs are fucking retarded. I hate them. I despise celebrities who try to basically enforce this like needless, unnecessary, but predatory business practices on people. I hate when companies and just general people do that shit. It's so fucking dumb. So no, don't support NFTs. Don't buy NFTs. Don't buy Ethereum. Don't buy cryptocurrency. Another thing that I want to mention is they're usually selling this to people that don't know how to protect their crypto wallets. A lot of times the people are like, oh, switch to this specific crypto bank, and then they try to, and then they just lose their fucking wallet. It's like, you are a fucking retard, so you deserve what happens to you. But enough of NFTs. Let's move on to another subject, or the final thing I dislike in things right now. I'd probably make a much more full-fledged video and a much more well-scripted video, but the podcast, I could speak my mind. I don't like fandoms. I guess this is going back to the whole Sony and Microsoft thing. I'm seeing a lot of people attack each other and basically go to war one another. There's like a lot of Twitter. I'll say this: Twitter is like a social experiment to see how well the human evolution cycle has gone, and it has failed in almost every single fucking way. Twitter is a bunch of children, big and small in terms of age, acting as if their opinion fucking is valid, and then legitimately weaponizing their audience to attack one another. It's so fucking funny. It's so fucking insane. Twitter is literally a curse, but it's also a blessing. It is a social experiment to see how well the human evolution, or the human species itself, has evolved. Jesus, can I fucking talk? I sound like a spaz. It is fucking insane, and it is fucking funny to me. I love it so much. The games industry is shit. Entertainment industry is shit, I guess. And if you want to voice your opinions, go on fucking Twitter. So, now that's always fun, but whatever. Yeah, Twitter is a shit show. But anyways, back to fandoms. I hate aggressive fandoms. Like, I hate fandoms that go out of their way to attack one another over specific political ideologies or opinions. But right now you're seeing like I'm not gonna say the people involved because I don't want to fucking send direct hate towards them. But you have the there's like specific dedicated like fan accounts for Sony or Microsoft, and the Sony people will call them X-bots, and then the Microsoft people will call them Sony ponies. And it's like, what fucking era did I step into where we're using this like slang? It's so fucking goofy. It's so silly. It's entertaining to me. But yeah, I fucking hate fandoms. And again, it's good to be part of a fandom. If you're a fan and if you really do like something and you're really passionate about it, don't let like some contrarian like myself tell you otherwise. I think what really crosses that threshold of being fucking annoying is how aggressive they become, or how they just fucking annoying they become about it. Like K-pop motherfuckers, I can't stand with an absolute passion. I fucking hate those type of people. The aggressive ones. If you like it in general, again, if you like something in general and just are calm about it and not like overly passionate about it, by all fucking means. But when you become like so involved to the point where you're hyperventilating when someone just says, "Oh, I don't like it," you need help. But yeah, those are the things I dislike. Let's move on to another topic, I feel. Let's talk about cool shit that I'm really looking forward to in 2020. You know what? No, we're gonna do this. Let's talk about the pandemic, because I feel like it's something that I want to get off my chest and sort of talk about. We are within a few months from really reaching that 2-year threshold of being in the pandemic. And man, it's so weird to think about just how... It's just so weird to think about how fast time has sort of like gone by and shit, you know? It's like we had assumed that the 2020s would be this like revolutionary new generational era, and then boom, somebody fucked the bat. Somebody fucked the bat and had openly decided that this would be the end of all mankind. And look, I'll say this before I go any further. If you refuse to get the vaccine, that's perfectly fine. I'm not gonna sit there and shun you from it. But at the same time, if you want this to go away, there are means of doing so. Again, I hear this like dumbass argument kind of slated like, oh, you're not getting the vaccine because, you know, there's not a lot of long-term research. Wouldn't that shit be said about anything you put in your fucking body? But again, like I'm saying, don't get it if you don't feel comfortable with it. But at the same time, people that are like openly wanting to go into like establishments that like enforce vaccine mandates, yeah, I could kind of see it. I don't really like forcing employees to do that. I think that's very, very authoritarian. I don't like that. There's a difference between leisure and a necessity. Working a job, getting paid, that is a necessity. Leisure, going out to a movie theater, going out to a restaurant and dining in, that is a luxury. You don't need to do that. That is not a necessity. You don't need it. So, that's sort of my take on like the whole vaccine thing. But I think just like with the pandemic, everybody has become so volatile, including myself. I to an extent became very volatile. Warzone just dropped at the worst possible time. I remember me and my friends would play Warzone and shit, and we became like overtly fucking toxic towards one another to the point where we all hated each other. And yeah, the beginning of the pandemic was like one of the hardest times, I think, for a lot of people. It didn't help that the racial tensions across the country were just fucking astronomical. Again, it didn't really help as well that there wasn't much help. So the pandemic itself really gave a lot of like, the beginning of it was so hard on a lot of people that I understand why motherfuckers were like, you know, offing themselves. I'm not outright defending it, nor am I outright saying it's right, but motherfuckers were legitimately offing themselves, and it was bad. It was bad. So the pandemic, the pandemic itself was, beginning was so harsh that now that we look at it, it is so easy. I guess like you could say humans are really great at adapting and shit. We've adapted to the pandemic, but I think at this point we are sick of it. Everyone's so fucking done. Like, people are done with it, you know? People are getting a water. Give me a second. People are done with the pandemic. People are done with the idea of like staying at home and things being restricted. Like, what was it, yesterday? Yesterday I had gone to the gym, and I hadn't gone in a while because of work. I work at a job, and it was like peak season really just fucking wore me out, and I was going to the gym consistently before that for like about 2 months. But then all of a sudden, I got sick. I got work, then I had some stuff come up in life, and then like I said, I recently had gotten COVID. And I was only really going to start working out this week. And so by the way, I'm recording this on a Tuesday going into Wednesday. It's like literally 11:55 right now. But I had necessarily wanted to go back in the gym. You know, I was going to start my normal routine that I usually had, which would have basically consisted of arm day would be on Monday, cardio and endurance would have been on Tuesday, chest day, lower core, deep core, that type of stuff would be Wednesday, legs, and then was it compatible weights type of shit where it's like you're doing deadlifts, overhand thingies, like it's deadlifts, squat rack type, that type of stuff, right? And that was my routine. And I went yesterday to the gym, and I guess like I had normally assumed that the gym would be open 24 hours, but I guess it wasn't. They started to restrict their hours, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, if we're going back to the point where we're being normally restricted, it goes to show that people are becoming more and more selfish and less considerate, right? You're probably saying, oh, you don't need to go to the gym. And you're right, I don't. But again, it's something that we had a form of like leniency, and it was stripped from us, and now we're like, bro, what the fuck, you know? So that was really annoying, honestly. So yeah, the beginning of the pandemic really just kind of took a lot from us, and then as they started trickling more leniency and more things to do and shit, and things weren't so restrictive, and then with like the Omicron variant, which fucking is somebody playing with Transformers or some shit, because that shit sounds like a Decepticon or like an Autobot type of thing, right? Or like Dinobots and Constructicons. Anyways, that's besides the point. The point I'm trying to make here is that I fucking want this pandemic to be over. I think we're all just kind of fed up with it. And I think people just want to get away from it, you know? Like, I had earlier this year gone to California. I haven't been to California in some time. And I went to the Disney parks, and then I visited my family out there, and it was so nice. But as that was, again, like I'm saying, it's some leniency, some form of freedom. And as like things started to progressively get worse and worse now with this Omicron variant, you just see everything kind of suck, and it's just like, look, if people just fucking have their mask on, I know it sucks. Who the fuck wants to wear that shitty paper thing over your face for a period of time? I mean, I'll say this, if it's not even an N95 mask, it's pretty much useless. But N95 masks are the only ones that filter out like fucking destined shit or like just filter shit out. The other ones kind of just are there to cover your mouth, which arguably I understand. Look, at the end of the day, I'll say this: we need to come to some form of a fucking middle ground where everyone says, look, I fucking don't want to get the vaccine, but I don't want to wear this, so I'll clench my butt cheeks for like a week or two, and we can get done with this shit, you know? But the world moves on, the world spins on, so we'll see how long we're in this pandemic. But now that we're done with the more bitter stuff, let's get into some good stuff. Let's get into some cool stuff. ...2021 was an interesting year. 2020 was an interesting year. In terms of entertainment, in terms of things that launched, not a whole lot of cool stuff. I mean, we had the next-gen consoles, which I'll talk about that in a much more discreet video. I guess I'll talk about it now. We had I'll talk about this one time. We had the next-gen consoles come out. We've had new stuff come out, but there hasn't been that fucking banger, you know what I mean? We haven't had a great game. Like, 2021 had, honestly, not that many great games. Like, I had, like, a top 5 list. Like, it consisted of, like, Guardians of the Galaxy, which was really fucking good, surprisingly. It also consisted of, like, Ratchet and Clank. It also consisted of, what else? Oh, I played Miles Morales. Really fun game. Ooh, Jesus. H-Rot, which is, like, a retro boomer shooter type of game. And, I guess I could put Returnal up there. Honestly, dude, there was more indie shit that I played, or not. No, first of all, indie games are on par, if not better than most games. I played a lot of retro shit this year as well. Like, obviously, with the announcement of the eShop closing, I openly fucking made it my mission to buy like a lot of old games that I normally wouldn't be able to buy. Like, I played a lot of like RPGs and shit, and a lot of like Kirby games, because I'm really excited for the new Kirby game. But more or less what I'm trying to get at, I'm getting sidetracked again, fuck, is that there wasn't that many great stuff. But this year, it's gonna pop off, and I think it's gonna pop off soon. We sort of popped off. We had, in the beginning of the year, or just like the last few weeks, we had Pokemon Legends Arceus, however the fuck you want to pronounce that game. I fucking like that game. That game is so fucking fun. It's so cool. It's so enjoyable. I like it. But I can understand why some people don't like it. I recently have just played through all 3 of the Uncharted games. I only played through the first one as a kid, and I played through all 3 of them in anticipation of the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves and the Uncharted movie. So there's a lot of cool stuff that is necessarily coming out soon. So let's get into that, right? Really. You have Elden Ring, one of the most anticipated games of all time. I mean, it's Breath of the Wild meets basically Dark Souls. I know it's like such a dumb comparison, but I mean, same developers and same concept. I'm really, really fucking excited for Elden Ring. Not so much am I excited for that new Horizon Zero Dawn game, or Horizon Forbidden West. It looks great, it looks visually pleasing, but I'm not the biggest open world fan. I'm more of a curated type of guy, where I like games that are curated with some level of freedom, with some level of exploration, not to the point where it's like, well, there's so much shit, I can't even fucking beat this game, and I feel like I'm running into so many places. We have that new Destiny expansion coming soon, the Witch Queen. I'm not so sure I'm going to play that, because I played a lot of Destiny this year, especially with, like, the Season of the Spicer and Season of Light. I played halfway through that, and I just kind of gave up, because it's overbearing. There's a lot of cool shit. Again, a new Sifu game I'll definitely be playing. I'll wait for a sale. Again, I don't like to pay full price for games if I know I'm not going to enjoy them. And from what I'm hearing, it's a game that requires a lot of dedication, so I'll definitely buy that game when it's on sale. As terms of movies in February is usually February and January is usually the worst. Jackass came out recently. I haven't seen that, but I will see it when I get a chance. Looks interesting. Uncharted the movie. Again, that's something that I actually forgot was coming out. I had just played the Uncharted trilogy, the original 3, which I think this movie is a hodgepodge of like 1 and 3, I think, but with like 2 in it. It's sort of weird. That movie itself, I will be seeing it in IMAX. I'm a big IMAX fan. That movie is specially formatted. I know there's a little bit of random bullshit jargon, but that movie basically will have like the screen open all the way up and shit for some sequences. So that'll be kind of cool at least. I think everyone's on that Tom Holland train right now. What else is coming out in February? Already talked about most things. Oh, that one weird ass game, Crossfire. That one weird fucking game that's usually mentioned in E3 or any Xbox showcase. That weird ass like first person shooter type of game that was really popular in China and like Asian territories, but primarily China. That game itself is coming out soon. I think tomorrow, because it just trickled into like the 9th, so it comes out on the 10th. And yeah, March will be a big fucking month. Two of my most anticipated things in March are going to be The Batman. Matt Reeves is a solid filmmaker. There's some that don't like him, and some people who say, "Oh, he's too generic." No, he's a visionary. Really fucking underrated filmmaker, if you ask me. Really excited for The Batman. I wasn't a fan of the Justice League. I wasn't a fan of Ben Affleck, and I wasn't really a fan of Christian Bale after the Batman Begins because they sort of kind of sidelined them in his own trilogy with the villains. So I'm really excited. Robert Pattinson has been fucking killing it. So really hyped about that. It's my most anticipated movie. I don't even know whether fucking movies are coming out in March, but I know there's a lot of games coming out in March. A lot, in fact. It's kind of insane. To begin with, my most anticipated game right now is obviously going to be Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I'm a big Borderlands fan. I know I recently said, I know a couple seconds ago or a couple months ago that I said that I'm not a big fan of open world games. But this is an exception because I fucking love this style of game. It's really fucking good. Borderlands 3, as much as I hated the story and I thought it was pretty ass, the gameplay itself sucked me in. I want to do a review of Borderlands 3 sometime, so hopefully I'll get a chance to do that sometime in the future. Hopefully soon before the new game comes out. You got that new Kirby game that looks really fucking good. Kirby just gets a lot of negative rap rather. It's just a child's game, bro. Nobody fucking wants to play that, mate. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Go play your Call of Duties and shit. What else is coming out? Gran Turismo, not the biggest fan. There's another major game coming out. Oh yeah, GTA 5 I think is coming out as well for some fucking unknown reason. Go figure why GTA 5 is coming out again. I know they just seemingly announced GTA 6 or the next Grand Theft Auto in development. Everybody lost their fucking mind. I'm like, really? Really? Did you not think they wouldn't work on that game? Come on. As for movies in March, honestly, I don't know. And yeah, that's really it for March. March just feels like a great month. There's a lot of content coming out, a lot of good stuff. Again, Batman and Tiny Tina are, like, for me, the most anticipated stuff. But, moving into the rest of the year, April has Star Wars Baby Trilogy. Really excited for that. I'm a big Star Wars fan. I love Star Wars as much as the next guy, so I'm pretty excited for that Star Wars Skywalker saga. I am disappointed to hear that the treatment of the employee and the client and the staffing there was fucking bad, and they like legitimately didn't want to pay Unreal money, so they switched game engine, which worries me. I'm like, oh boy, probably not the best sign, but we'll wait and see. What else is coming out this year, man? Mr. Kirby, that weird fucking like trilogy ender for the Fantastic Beasts shit. I'm not a Harry Potter fan. I watched the movies, they're fine. I'm not a biggest fan. But I digress. You have Sonic. Really excited for that. Sonic. And then at the end of the year, at the end of that, I think we're having Doctor Strange like in May. Having that Evil Dead game. And yeah, that is a stacked fucking lineup. I don't know what else is coming. I know Breath of the Wild 2 was announced to come out this year. I'll see. I'll believe it when I see it. Reportedly, Jedi Fallen Order might come out this year. Again, I'll see it when I believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. What else is coming out this year? Obi-Wan. Really, really hyped. That's supposed to apparently come out on May the 4th, which... Fuck it. I'm pretty hyped for that. Mandalorian. That new Andor show. Does anybody actually like the story in Rogue One? I don't want to get too much into it, but yeah, it's so much great fucking stuff coming out at the end of the year. Oh yeah, one of the best shows of all time just came out today. Smiling Friends came out on HBO Max. If you had seen it beforehand, it's so refreshing to see YouTubers branch out that aren't doing those shitty like fucking YouTube original movies. That's great. Really happy for Psychic Pebble and Michael Cusack. I know only 1G's in it to some extent. You know, so many other creators, so that's fucking great. JonTron, where's your fucking show at? But yeah, that's so much great shit. Hopefully 2022 is a much better year than last year, and hopefully things get better as time goes on. But like always, all good things must come to an end, and all bad things must come to an end. And like that, it's a horrible fucking way to end today's podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on my first episode. I'll try to get some more content out. I'm really dedicated to doing this year. I really need to set time aside. So with that being said, thank you guys for joining me for the first episode. And this will be going live on Friday, so that'll be the 11th. Going live, I want to say, around I want to say around 3 p.m., 4 p.m., sometime around there. So again, thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks, guys.